right, welcome back. Still Dailies today, right here on 99.3 Nigerian. For back for the second part of Dailies today. Of course, big thanks to Chuma Noli and, of course, Femi and the gang for the latest sporting information. Of course, Sports Drive comes your way every single weekday, Monday through to Friday, 7 a.m. right here on 99.3 Nigerian. For you can have your say on any of the paper headlines, so we put them out already on our pages. So head on to Facebook. Facebook page is found at Nigeria Info 99.3, or you can type facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. And of course, we have X at Nigeria Info FM. You can also look for that as well at Nigeria Info FM. All right, and of course our guest has already joined us, and we're going to do justice to the topics as planned. I'd like to say a very good morning to none other than Majeed Dahiru. Dr. Majeed Dahiru, good morning to you. I know you can't see me, but I'm going to put the line. I was telling Sheriff, good morning. Can you see me, sir? Okay, I was telling Sheriff sometimes when I sneak downstairs to go wait for him and Jimmy DC to finish, I'll be watching your analysis on TV once in a while. Yeah. So that's how while I wait time. So when I saw him on his belt with him, I said, that man is a is a big fish. Doc, it's good to see you.
Very much,
yes. I watch you most times on AIT sometimes. Yeah.
A
lot of people don't watch that station, but I do. Right. It's good to have you, Dr. Dahiru. For those of you listening, please feel free to call the numbers we earlier advertised, 0201-277-0993 and 0201-465-7190, 0201-277-0993 and 0201-465-7190. WhatsApp number is available for only WhatsApp messages for now, because of course we can't use the system. We have a Zoom guest on. Doc, let's look at the Punch this morning. There's not a lot of space today because of some one or two advertorials, but what we have is on River State. Front page of today is the Punch. Ibas rejects Assembly's move to probe 6-month spending. The writers to that one, ex-administrator, insists lawmakers lack power to question tenor. CSOs urge Fubara to hold Ibas accountable. This is on page 2 of today's The Punch. And so this is looking at the River State House of Assembly as led by Right Honorable Martin Zamehule, saying we will probe the spending of the emergency administrator. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's neither here nor there. You know why? First and foremost, I still believe that the emergency rule in River State was illegal. It was an illegal contraption. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court was not bold enough to hear the case early enough and make an adjudication on this matter. Illegal for two reasons. Number one, I do not think there was an imminent threat of breakdown of security enough to warrant even the declaration of state of emergency. And even when there is sufficient grounds to declare state of emergency, as we had in the Northeast then when President Jonathan declared state of emergency in some local government, you cannot do that by suspending elected government structures. Was politically motivated, for simply a means to hold down Fubara, tie his hands, tie his legs behind him, and allow Wiki to slaughter him. That was just what that was about. Now, for the assembly that is led by, or should I say, that is loyal to former Governor Wiki and now Minister Wiki, to now be wanting to probe a contraption that was used to even up, to kind of balance the power play in River State on behalf of their boss, is a bit curious. You start wondering, what are you probing in an illegality? I mean, the whole entire thing is if you go to court exactly what, I hope they won't even get Ibas arrested and jailed for usurping the powers of an elected governor in River State or implicate the president. Because if you go to court on this matter, the first you have to determine is, does Ibas have the constitutional power to preside over a state that had an elected governor for 6 months? That is where the case will start from. So it will torpedo the arrangement that has even the power play in the state now in favor of Wike.
Okay,
and the assembly members will be allowed to Wike. So I don't know what they're trying to do.
Okay, but so now what the Punch is telling us is that Ibas is saying the lawmakers lack the power to question his tenure. Do you agree with him as quoted by the Punch that maybe he's thinking is that because they're he was an emergency appointee, in
a sense, assuming without considering that this was legal, assuming the state of emergency was legal and was in order, assuming but not considering necessarily, it will mean that the only person who can hold responsible for Ibas's actions or inactions as administrator will be the appointing authority, the president of the federation or the federation. Because under the constitution, as a matter of fact, appointees are not always held liable for the action because they are deemed to be acting on behalf of the president. Anything they do is deemed to be delegated authority, except when the president decides that on this one I did not delegate that. So they have the president to contend with in trying to probe Ibas. That's what Ibas is trying to say. That in an emergency situation, I'm not accountable to anybody. I can do anything under the guise of security management. And besides, I was appointed by the president. So you have the competence to contend with, because what I do, I get clearance for the president. And when the president has cleared me, I mean I can go ahead and do it. So I can be held personally liable. So exercising authority on behalf of the president.
So is it that the president, or his appointees have a free reign, are beyond scrutiny, probity, accountability that can't be held to account by legislature?
Not that I'm saying that. In this instance, this was a contraption in itself. A contraption that was ostensibly in favor of the legislature of government in Rivers as members of the Wike faction. So coming back to that probe, what was clearly a contraption is simply complicating issues.
But it's debatable that this was in favor of the legislators because they were also suspended, and they can also come out to say, well, they're also victims. Because I have it on good account that maybe they yes.
Like politically, they are members of the Wike faction. They're not hiding that fact. And it was Fubara's disobedience of the Supreme Court judgment, so to say, or his refusal to recognize the assembly member and all of that, that totally they want to probe in an arrangement that was a contraption that was illegal, but that was in the favor of their own faction or the power trouble in the state. What exactly are they trying to do? So for me, it's a complete distraction.
Okay,
Rivers people have had enough.
So will it be the National Assembly? Yeah, will it be the National Assembly? Who would have the power to investigate or to probe the financial, dealings of the emergency government of Ibas?
For me, again, without necessarily considering, but assuming everything was in order, and there was a security breach, and there was a need to install an administrator, assuming the constitution allows for all of that. In this instance, yes, it will be the president that has appointed him that will have the power to refer his case to the assembly. That's what I'm to say. I gave approvals for so and so, but he went beyond the threshold of my approvals. So I want it probed, and I want him referred to the relevant authorities for sanction. Because emergency, the nature of emergency is that when you have a security emergency, anything can be done. You can take $1 billion and put it to the Atlantic Ocean and call it a security spending. That is the nature of Nigerian security spending. So I do not know the extent to which, I don't know the basis upon which they're trying to probe it back, but I'm just saying, this is a complete waste of time of the Rivers people. It's going to create more controversies, and I do not think Rivers can remain in paralysis for the rest of this tenure because of a contraption that, in my opinion, is illegal, was unwarranted, is unconstitutional. How do you probe an unconstitutionality? I don't get it, really.
Okay, all right.
That is the crux here.
Okay, interesting. Let's move on to a story in today's The Punch. But the background to this story was that a couple of days ago, terrorists in Nigeria's northeast attacked a military base overnight, sending approximately 5,000 civilians fleeing over the border into Cameroon. and this was revealed by security forces on Friday. And now, today, the Punch is telling us one of its stories that they're confirming that victims of that terror attack that was launched against a military base have been hospitalized in Cameroon, another country. I read an excerpt, sir. It says confusion persists over the exact number of military casualties following a terrorist attack on the 152 Task Force Battalion in Banki, a border community in Bama local government area of Borno State. It says several civilian survivors have been evacuated across the border to Mora in Cameroon for treatment, while many residents have fled the community for safety. I'll leave it at that. So it says the assault occurred on Thursday night, reportedly claiming 5 civilian lives, according to local officials. It is the latest in a series of deadly incidents in Bama local government area, including the recent Dara Jamal attack that left 63 people dead. Sir.
You know what I said on the podcast with the outside the box podcast with Femi, that the situation in northern Nigeria is worse than Gaza. A lot of people are wondering where I got the numbers from. You see, the tragedy is that for every of these killings that are reported, a lot more has happened without being reported that escaped the radar. Because the inadequacy is so profound, it's so fundamental that you have a large swathe of Nigerian land that is ungoverned without a government presence. So terrorists have free reign. And Boko Haram insurgency is still on and alive with us. Because it is what is required to defeat Boko Haram has not been done yet. And I've said it severally. It has not been done yet. Even though I understand that the military, or rather the federal government, is now trying to carry out a final solution to Boko Haram insurgency, because you cannot be fighting a ping-pong kind of war, a hide-and-seek kind of war with so-called non-state actors for about 15 years now. The longest running civil war in Africa was 20 years. Boko Haram insurgency is about to break that record if care is not taken. Now, what is the solution to this problem? I've said it severally, because now we're talking about solutions. For context, the faction that attacks military installations and platforms and formations is usually ISWAP. Why is this possible? Unlike the other faction of Boko Haram that attacks both civilian and military targets, the ISWAP faction concentrates more on military targets. So what has happened is that because of their friendliness to the civilian populace, they have been able to infiltrate and entrench themselves within the society across the northeast, particularly Borno and Yobe axis. So people are no longer giving information to the army as they used to, because they're no longer under direct threat. Under direct threat by ISWAP. So ISWAP is hibernating and effectively taking on hard targets or military formations. I can assure you that we have lost more men since the emergence of ISWAP in 2016 than we probably lost during the Civil War. People should go and do their research.
So you talked about...
So the solution here for me, the solution is we have to, I've written about it several in my column. We need to evolve a final solution to this insurgency on one hand, while combating the ideology behind the insurgency on the other hand, as a long-term strategy. We need to de-radicalize the entire Muslim community, particularly in northern Nigeria. It's not just the combatants, it's the entire society that we need to de-radicalize. We need to secularize Nigeria. We need to restore Nigeria as a secular, constitutional democratic state where religion has no role.
Does that include abolishing Sharia law in parts of the country?
You must abolish Sharia law. You must dismantle all Sharia establishment and apparatus across all states. It is illegal.
It seems you're asking for the impossible to happen.
That's the only solution to your terrorism activities, sir.
Okay.
So if that is impossible, then let us learn to live with these terrorism activities for as long as we are alive.
I want to just take
your final solution.
Yes, okay, go on. Yes. Final solution, please.
The final solution is militarize that axis now and create a safe corridor for civilians to leave that area and carry out a total comprehensive area bombardment for as long as it takes to soften the ground before ground troops will move in, the infantry and the artillery, to do clearance operations and occupy. So you need area bombardment, and I'm told confidentially that the UAE has supplied us
Sorry, so your network
capabilities to do this.
You sorry, you have to repeat because your network has been
yes.
Yes, you saying the UAE has supplied us. That's where we lost you.
Okay, I have it on authority.
Yes,
I have it on authority that the UAE, due to the several trips that President Tinubu has done to the UAE, one of the results, one of the fruits of such, engagement with the UAE authorities, is that the UAE has supplied Nigeria with the right caliber of arms, aerial surveillance equipment, area bombardment equipment and platforms, enough to carry out comprehensive wetting of the ground, as is supposed to be the case in a sovereign entity like Nigeria.
So what is happening? What are the ways?
Men are already being trained
to
operate this equipment.
Okay.
I hope and pray that the information is right and that it comes to pass as stated from November.
I'm sure some listeners are asking, what about the Super Tucano jets? We kept hearing about Super Tucano. I mean, some of us who never knew or heard about it before, we can wrap it up there, roll it over our tongue. I mean, what happened to that one?
I think somehow our military leadership at the time overrated the capabilities of a Super Tucano jet. As of us raised concerns then that these jets are not necessarily jet fighters in reality. They are simply reconfigured, guess what? Farming equipment that was now used to carry, mid-sized bombs to tackle guerrilla fighters in South America. Essentially, what this aircraft were designed for originally was to spread pesticides on farms across South America, particularly in Brazil.
My God.
So they are low-flying aircraft that can drop mid-sized bombs after it was configured to fight FARC rebels and other such rebel groups in South America. That was when they started producing the ones that carry bomb and drop. They're not essentially jet fighters, fighter jets in the research of the world. The information I don't give you now about the UAE assistance to Nigeria, I didn't give the details. It was deliberate for security reasons. I said less than I actually know, but I won't give more details because that element of surprise must be there. But just to assure us that some of the commentaries we'll be making, some of the advice we'll be giving to government openly, sometimes they take some, thankfully. Because when we do this, we're not doing this to bring down any government. We're trying to simply offer solutions to problems and point to a direction that say, look, this is how we should go about it.
Fantastic.
So I hope and pray that what we have now is it will enable the Nigerian state to effectively take over its territories and stamp out these terrorist insurgents once and for all.
Interesting you've talked about the Super Tucano. I mean, they never looked like fighter jets to those who at least would have, and even if it's to watch movies, they did never look like, they look so soft. But this same area, if you remember, sometime in 2014, when there was a report that Nigerian troops fled from Borno State into Cameroon, more than 400 of them, you remember? And at the point, the military sort of they were not really telling Nigerians what happened, but the Cameroonians spoke, and they were told that on Cameroonian state radio at the time that Boko Haram fighters captured the Nigerian town of Banki. This same Banki, sir. I won't be surprised if it's the same army base. Yeah. And the troops fled from Banki, into Cameroon. Now, I'm still looking at that 2014. There's a story I saw on Premium Times, from Premium Times in 2014. I hope they don't take it down after this program. Now, it says Boko Haram. This 2014, sir. APC. Oh, where is this? I hope they don't take it down. No. APC tackles Jonathan over escape of Nigerian soldiers into Cameroon. That's what they said.
APC is in power today.
It's in power today. So I mean, this was just so. What can you say about this? That the party, yes,
it's unfortunate. Let me tell you, it's not a good thing for our democracy that the party will come to power based on the fact that Nigerians voted against the previous party for say a similar reason. 10 years later, or 11 years later, the same thing has happened. And that is because Nigeria has not changed for the better since 2015, when there was a change of party between the PDP and the APC. Nigeria has actually gotten worse. Because if what's happening in 2014, if what's happening in 2025 today happened in 2014, it means 2014 was better than 2025 because 11 years is enough time for you to have actually been able to master the art of military warfare enough to prevent it from happening. So it means our democracy has not consolidated. It means it no longer matters when you change parties in Nigeria. It will remain same of the same. It is a worrisome situation that delegitimizes democracy as a form of government. Yes, it is. So the greatest danger to our democracy today, the greatest threat to our democracy, it's not even the military. It's not even the insurgents. It's not banditry. It's not people that are criticizing government. It is the operators of the system, those that are in place, that are in power themselves. They are the greatest threat to our democracy because their performance is delegitimizing democracy. How do you explain this? That for 2014, this situation happened, and it's happening exactly the same way in 2025. It should not be acceptable. Look, when 9/11 happened in the US, nothing on that scale ever happened in the US again. Nothing.
All right.
Nothing. Yeah.
The same towns are being attacked over and over again. The same army bases, the same schools. But let's move on. The next one is regarding INEC and the 2027 election. A number of papers have carried the same story, so we'll go with the punch. This is what they say: 2027 APC opposition list expectations for INEC next INEC chair. This is a contentious issue. And I want your thoughts on this because the paper says as the 2027 general election approaches, the All Progressives Congress, People's Democratic Party, African Democratic Congress, I noticed the paper didn't add Labour Party, but well, have outlined key expectations for the incoming chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, emphasizing credibility, neutrality, and commitment to democratic principles. What feeling do you have regarding this expected change in the chairmanship of INEC? Are you confident that I will have a qualified, neutral person who will come in and give Nigerians free and fair elections?
I'm not optimistic about that. That will tantamount to President Tinubu leading the current pack of political leaders on a journey of class suicide, which ordinarily would have been good for the Nigerian. But considering their own self-interest, immediate prerogative, I'm sure they will need to do that. I've observed that since Jonathan made, in quote unquote, the mistake of appointing a Jega as INEC chairman, somebody he never knew, somebody who is from the extreme part of the northern flank of Nigeria, while Jonathan was from the extreme southern part of the country. He's a Christian guy. These are two parallel lines that will never have met, which would have been the ideal candidacy for INEC chairmanship. Because INEC is an independent body that's supposed to conduct elections of people that will preside over our affairs, our security and welfare. So ordinarily, it's a very serious task. So the people in charge of INEC are supposed to be angels from heaven. But since you cannot bring angels from heaven, we need angels on earth to man INEC at every level. Not just the chairmanship position, across the board. But I've observed that recently, the APC government between Buhari and even Tinubu now are fond of nominating clearly politically exposed persons with posters of campaign a few years ago into INEC as resident electoral commissioners and in some cases as national commissioners. So what makes you think that when it comes to INEC chairmanship, anything will be different? I've not seen a commitment to electoral reforms by the current president. I've not seen that. I've not seen any move towards saying, look, I want to leave a legacy of a free and fair. I've not really seen that. Our president is a politician to the core, a typical Nigerian politician. And he's not pretending about it. He's not making false claims about it. He's been his true natural self.
Interesting.
So I'm not optimistic at all. At all. If anything, Nigerians will be very disappointed when they announce the next INEC chairman.
Mahmoud Yakubu is going to be leaving in November, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and will have, would I say, the enviable record, if you want to put it that way, of being the longest-serving INEC chairman in history of the Nigerian Electoral Commission. How do you think, or how will you and how should Nigerians look back on his time as INEC chairman?
Okay, well, it's a mix, for me, it's a mix of achievements and underachievements. In some instances, yes, certain things were done right. There were attempts to introduce technology, there were attempts to make our electoral processes better, even without any prompting. And as INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu was favorable to reforms as much as possible, but he met brick walls in the political class. And maybe one would have said, well, if you are principled enough, then you throw in the towel and walk away, right? Well, he didn't do that. That's not the typical attitude of a Nigerian public officer. But honestly speaking, between you and I usually don't hold, again, let me say this. There is too much political interference in the affairs of INEC. It happened before the Jonathan administration, and it happened after Jonathan. The only exception to this rule was Jonathan. Who didn't interfere? Who allowed INEC to do what they had to do? And he paid the ultimate price. I have observed that most of his successors do not want to repeat that quote-unquote mistake that he made. Even though what he did was a victory for the Nigerian state and our democracy, even though it was a personal loss for him. But that personal loss has become a victory for him as well, because Jonathan today is celebrated globally as an icon of democracy. Globally, as an African statesman that stands out. Jonathan is gradually going into the ranks of your Mandelas of this world, your Julius Nyereres of this world, the passenger of this world, and all that. So it means he has earned something from paying fidelity to the constitutional requirement that says INEC should be independent. The others are not looking at that. They're looking at the immediate election that is coming up, not the next generation. So for me, what is most important is for president to pay absolute, beginning with appointing people that they do not have any field relationship with, people that are known to be experts in electoral management, whose lifelong career in the CSO have been all about electoral management. Appoint of such people there, appoint them as commissioners from the political zone, and allow them to run the place as they like, without interference.
All right.
So Mahmoud Yakubu may not have been fortunate to serve under a president or presidents that are this faithful to the constitution, like Jonathan was. So the most important people to point to us is the president. It's the president. Beginning from appointing the right person, somebody who is not a politician, somebody whose lifelong career, let me repeat, lifelong, and there are many of them, they have always been in the field advocating for fair, credible elections. What is wrong with making it to the chairman of INEC, for God's sake? What is wrong with that?
Making who?
But you take only a transformational leader to do that.
Okay. Making who?
Only a fair-minded transformational leader to do that.
Did you put out a name for possible INEC chairman?
Samson, what is wrong with making Samson Itodo INEC chairman?
Okay, I see.
Of Yaga.
Okay.
What is wrong with making Clement of Plaque INEC chairman?
What about Patutomi?
There are many of them like that.
Patutomi is there as well.
He's a politician. He's going into partisan politics.
Oh, you can be made INEC chairman.
All their lifelong career has been about electoral matters, both in the continent of Africa and globally. There are people like that. But you take a transformational leader to say, okay, you guys have been outside advocating for social and so.
But you have some of them. You have some of them already in INEC. You have the likes of Mike Igini. Mike Igini has been a wreck for years. You have Oboe Fanga. Oboe Fanga was with Action Aid.
No,
he's a wreck.
Mike Igini left after 2 terms.
Yeah, but he was there.
No, you see, again, being a wreck. And look at his performance as a wreck. Mike Igini was one of the few wrecks that prosecuted people for electoral offenses.
And you have Oboe Fanga, who is also there right now.
Go and look at Oboe Fanga's record as a wreck. Both in Bayelsa, he was in Edo, I think.
Rivers
Edo now.
Yeah.
River. Go and check the record. This guy stood out.
Yes.
We're saying there are too few in the system.
Voices.
There are too few. Too few of them in the system.
All right.
People that should be populated in the system. People like these people should be populated there.
We have to leave it at that. Very interesting, Majeed Dahiru, analyst this morning, Nigerian for Analysts, right here on 99.3 Nigerian for Lagos. You can also catch him if you're in Abuja. You can listen to our Abuja station. So, Majeed Dahiru, it's been a pleasure having you. First time we're doing this together, and we'll certainly do this again. Thank you very much for your time. All right, let's go for the news at 9 up next, right on 99.3 Nigeria.
Negotiations with armed groups.
The president has decided he no longer wants to rest. Is that emergency in Nigeria?
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.